Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope you all are well. I have news hot off the presses for you. I'm sure you have heard that America has decided to send B-52s and tanks and things to fight Ukraine. So officially, World War III is official. There are no more proxy wars. And I want to make that plain so that people will not be under any impression that this does not impact you. It impacts all of us. So I want to do a story about how unprepared America is for a nuclear strike, because as you know, Russia has threatened us with with a nuclear attack. And if they do, just know America, like Canada, is not prepared to deal with the fallout. So let me read you this story. It is from 2018 from the Scientific American. And it says the US is woefully unprepared for a nuclear strike. It says its health system lacks the capacity to respond to attacks that use high powered modern weapons. But not only that, we don't have any bunkers. Very few people have shelters. If you didn't prepare one, then you don't have one. So you'll need to be thinking about this as I read this and figuring out how you're going to take care of yourself, because we are on our own. That's all I can say. And I also recommend you following Canadian Prepper and Southern Prepper One. Those are two people that I follow. They give the best information up to date, usually before anything comes out in the news. They have serious sources, and this is what you need now, because the mainstream media is not going to give you what you need to know if you are one of those awakened people like myself who are trying to stay on top of what's going on. So, this story says the United States is not prepared to deal with the aftermath of a major nuclear attack, despite North Korea's efforts to develop nuclear weapons and the increasing tensions between nations overall. That was a blunt assessment of public health experts who participated in a meeting last week on nuclear preparedness, organized by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. This gathering is an acknowledgement that the threat picture has changed and that the risk of this happening has gone up, says Tenor Venema, who studies disaster nursing at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, and co-chaired the conference in DC. And keep in mind, this was from 2018. And the reason I'm reading you this article, because I saw one from last year that basically said the same thing, that America is not prepared to deal with nuclear war. And you have to kind of ask yourself why, but that's neither here nor there at this juncture. It doesn't even matter. Since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, the United States' research and preparedness efforts for a nuclear strike have focused largely on the possibility of a terrorist attack and a relatively small, improvised 1 kiloton weapon or a dirty bomb that sprays radioactive material. But North Korea is thought to have advanced thermonuclear weapons, and that is what we're going to be dealing with Russia and China, each more than 180 kilotons or kilotones in size, that would cause many more casualties than a dirty bomb. Now that thermonuclear is back on the table, we're back to people saying we can't deal with this, says Cham Dallas, a public health researcher at the University of Georgia in Athens. Venema says that the Science Academies decided to do a study in November 2017, 3 months after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un threatened to launch a nuclear weapon at the U.S. territory of Guam. The academies wanted to bring together the different government, academic, and private sectors that would be involved in medical response to a nuclear attack. The Academy's committee plans to release a report in December, which I don't know if they did or not, but that lays out how the United States could plug the gaps in its response capabilities. The U.S. government's spending on nuclear weapons research and response has dropped drastically over the past few decades as the number of health workers with the training in radiation medicine and management. According to a 2017 study by Dallas, more than half of emergency medical workers in the United States and Japan have no training in radiation, no training in treating radiation victims. So if we have a nuclear threat today, especially after COVID, we have fewer people who can treat victims of radiation than we did back in 2017 because a lot of people left the field altogether. The same study suggests that even trained medical professionals might be too frightened to enter a nuclear fallout zone or treat radiation victims at the scene. Dallas's group found that 33% of medical professionals said they would not be willing to respond in such a scenario. So 33%, and that was in 2017. The rate is higher now, of physicians and professionals will not treat people in a nuclear fallout situation or people who have been treated exposed to radiation because they don't want to deal with the threat to themselves. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to treat yourselves, people. Compounding these concerns, treatments for radiation exposure and burns might not be available in sufficient quantities in the aftermath of a nuclear attack. James Jang, a burn surgeon at Mount Sinai Health System in New York City, says that the detonation of a nuclear bomb can leave behind hundreds of thousands of burn victims. The best treatment for such injuries is skin grafting, he says, but there are only about 300 surgeons in the United States who know how to perform the procedure. So we have millions, 350, close to 400 million people in the United States. And in 2017, we only had 300 surgeons in the US that could perform skin grafting surgery. So with that said, we are up doo-doo creek. Anywho, you get the gist of what's going on. We don't have people to attend to us should we have nuclear fallout. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because the Pentagon confirms U.S. servicemen trained to use Patriot systems, which means we are training Ukraine soldiers. So it says 100 arrived in the United States to train how to use the Patriot missile system. That is direct offense to Putin, and he said he will escalate as soon as that happens. And we did. Let's see, that story was from the Ukrainska Pravda, and it is dated on the 17th. This next story is from Republic World, which is an Indian newspaper from India. And let's see. And it's about Putin making an important statement about the ongoing war in Ukraine. As soon as it comes up, let me see if I can get the other story first. And the story is from Express UK. And it says Putin threatens gosh, everything is just so slow. Sorry about everybody. Let's see. Okay, so this says Putin ally threatens West with nuclear war if Russia defeated in Ukraine. This came out on the 20th, January 20th. Dmitry Medvedev, a close ally of Vladimir Putin, has warned that nuclear war could be brought upon the West if Russia were to lose in Ukraine. And so Medvedev was the former, I think, Prime Minister of Russia. But let me read this. It says Medvedev suggested NATO leaders should stop sending arms and ammunition to the Ukrainian military in support of President Zelensky or face a nuclear response. Well, we know that they didn't, and we know they've escalated, and now Russia and China and Iran are surrounding the United States. They're like, 100, 200 feet of our coast on either side. So I'm just saying all this to let you know that the war has escalated. Again, I'll put a link to Canadian Prepper. He's really good. He's been covering this for the last couple of days. I can't get this last story to come up, which is really annoying me. But basically, he's going to make a statement about the war sometime soon. If he didn't do it today, he's probably going to do it over the next couple of days. There have been war games going on all over the world. And the world is heating up. We're in war, and we've been threatened with nuclear war. China is in support and backing Russia, in addition to Iran. So understand we have no friends. Understand you are on your own. And also understand that you have to do what you need to do in order to get your house in order. So it means being prepared for martial law, not being able to leave your home. It means getting your own iodine pills and your Tyvek suits and your gas mask if you live close to a military base or in an area that is subject to be hit, that's on a strike list. And if you live on land with sonic missiles coming from submarines, they could cause tsunamis. So you need to be able to navigate dealing with water on top of your head. I just wanted to get this out really quick because, war, we're in war, and we are as close as we've ever been to being bombed. And I don't know if we have any support from our government whatsoever. It looks like they're going to keep us occupied and confused until the very end. So I want you to be prepared and just make sure you pray, repent, ask the Lord for forgiveness. Get your mind right, get your house in order, get your mind in order, because we don't know what's going to happen. We just know we are under duress, we are sabotaged, and this is a gradual demolition of America, aka Babylon. All right, y'all, take care. I'm out. I'll bring you more news as soon as I get it.